everyone, it's Fading Dragon. It has been quite a while. I haven't posted for so long, but on my side, I have been using a lot of my fountain pens and inks to the point that I reached 200 pen and ink combination for 2025. I'm cutting it close though, and I'm just excited to show you what I have in this past 1 year. Let's get to it. Okay, so on the previous year, I reached 133 pens and inks combination. Well, this year it's 200. Maybe I will go through the one in 2024 first, just because I feel like it. I will not say anything and just showing you this. Seeing some of the combinations that I did last year, I feel like I want to ink some of them again. Or just put the ink in another pen and just enjoy the color. Just like in 2024, most of my ink in 2025 are shading inks, and there are not that many shimmer ink in general. So when I say I ink 200 pens and ink combination, I gotta say with a preface that with some exceptions, I do not fulfill all my ink pens. So usually I just fill like 1/3 of the comforter or so, or half maximum. And I allow myself to clean without writing the pen dry if I got bored or if the ink and pen combination is unpleasant. And these numbers also include the Pilot Parallels inkings, even though I didn't ink the parallels that much. I need to ink them more. Okay, so for the first few months, it was winter. Those most of the colors are on the darker side. This book is Hobonichi Weeks with a non so good paper, so you can see some of the ink bleeding through sometimes. Oh yeah, and I want you to see these 4 rows. So this is a very total coincidence that I have some ink colors on the same rows for some pages in a row. So let's say brown, blue, purple, and green. Well, with this one, I need to switch it around. And another one like brown, blue, purple, and green. Also on this side. Brown, blue, purple, green, and it kind of breaks somewhere here. But I just find it interesting that it's very total coincidence that that happened. I think this is my most favorite spread out of the other pages, just because it's very colorful. Well, the temperature in here is also was also warmer around this time, so I start to use my brighter inks. This one is pretty good as well. I kind of like it here because it has the red, brownish yellowish green and blue. And in here as well, I skipped some of the rows because of the bleed through from the other side. And I'm fine with it. Although if I write on this side, I can kind of predict which place I don't want to write with. But on this side, I cannot predict it because the writing in here. Oh well. This one is also one of my favorite just because it's also very colorful. Although I didn't enjoy my time when I ink these inks because all of them are quite desaturated. So yeah, 200. And these are my pens and ink combination in a list, and I will show you how it looks on the monthly basis. In a month, I usually ink about 15 to 20 pen and ink combination on good months, but of course, I don't always reach that number, and that number really fluctuates month per month. As mentioned before, in January, it's pretty darkish colors. None of these are shimmer ink at all. I have one sort of shining ink. This one, Birmingham Penco Extra Dimensional Amber, although not by that much. In February and most of March, I was traveling. So I bring only these 6 pens ink, and if I remember correctly, I also ink it almost full for all comforters and the pen body. But to my surprise, these 2 months I didn't write much at all. So apparently when I was on holiday, I tend to write less. Or maybe because I was visiting family and we didn't really travel that much during these 2 months. That's why I didn't really have much to write. But I just find it interesting. I was so scared that I wouldn't have enough pens and ink because I didn't bring any of my inks. But I ended up going back home. I mean, the home I live right now, with most of these pens still ink, like more than uh, half of the ink chamber. So I went back around these weeks, and I still had to use the 6 pens ink just because I didn't use much of them. And in March, I only inked 1 pen, which was my newest pen at the time, the Sailor Pro Gear Imperial Black. Okay, so April, this year was kind of one of my darkest year in general, just because I got laid off in January, and then on April until October I was unemployed after the layoff. At first, I felt like, oh, I got all these times to play with my fountain pens and inks. So I ink quite a lot, and I even recorded lots of YouTube video around these times as well. I have 3 shimmer inks here. The Van Diemen's April, and then the Jack Heban Emerald the Shifor, and this Diamond Art Love Culture Broken Rune, and 1 UV ink. I was quite surprised with this Emerald Deceiver because it is not going well at all with this paper. So May, I do think this is the most pens and inks ink I have. Oh no, it also happens in June. Okay, so this very few months I inked a lot, and I recorded a lot of video as well. Last year I made a rule for myself that I cannot ink more than 1 pen in a day. But this year I kind of break it and I just ink any pens and inks that I feel like inking. Although I really try to choose a pen that I haven't inked for the longest time. So on my fountain pen companion, I check the last ink column and I choose from the bottom one most of the time, but not always. For sure, I skip some of the pens that I don't really enjoy and I just choose the pen that I like or I feel like inking. Around this time, yeah, so this was it this or this one? Oh, on the 31st of May and the 1st of June, it was the Dutch Pen Show. And so this month and the month after, I was thinking all the things that I got from the Dutch Pen Show. So that's why it's quite diverse as well. This month, August, was the time when my motivation tanked because my job search wasn't going as well as I thought, and I didn't get a job yet at the time, even though I kind of predicted that maybe it will just take me some months to search for a job, but apparently it took way longer than that. So I can truly see that in my ink in general, I didn't really play much with my pens and inks. It also became quite how to say this, I didn't enjoy inking pens and inks that much anymore, so some of these pens and inks I kind of tried or forced myself to ink just because it's a pity not to play around with these fountain pens and inks. Although at that time I didn't realize myself that it's okay to not touch any of my pens if I don't feel like it, because when the time comes when I feel like it again, then the pens and inks will welcome me back. That's something that I learned afterwards. So yeah, around August I think I stopped with my YouTube as well. So while normally I ink 15 to 20 pens for September, I just ink 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And also the same with October. 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 in October. Thankfully, in November, I got a new job, which I am very grateful for. You can clearly see that September and October, I didn't ink that much pens and inks, and in November, I ink a lot again. I'm grateful that I have this hobby that I can just come and get comfort from, and it would always be there for me. On the end of November, I tried not to ink too much pens and inks because I knew that in December I would have Diamine ink fan, which I pre-ordered from months back, and I also had the ink sample.nl exploring box. So in December I have two advent calendars relating to fountain pens and inks. As a result of not really inking that much at the end of November, on the very first few days of December, I was quite miserable just because I didn't have any interesting inks at the time, and also some of the inks on the very first few days of December were not that interesting per se. But from this onwards, I ink all the no, okay, not all, most of the Diamine ink fan and also the ink sample.nl exploring samples that I got. By this point, I felt like I had too much pens ink already. Um, and these three shimmer inks were for the event that we had with the Fountain Pen Club. So we went to a local department store and we helped with the name tag writing. It was pretty fun. And around this time, I realized that I only needed just a few more pens ink to reach 200 pen and ink combination for 2025. And I was not sure if I wanted to ink that much pens, because by this point I already have like 10 pens ink and it was already too much for me. But it was just a bit more to reach 200, so I was like, okay, let's do it. And I also got encouragement from friends to from this week onwards I ink two pens and inks each day. So I ink these two at the same day, each two at the same day, and these two on the same day as well. And with this, I reached 200 pen and ink combination. I'm so happy that I can enjoy my pens and inks this way. And I want to say I learned a lot about my pen and ink choice and all that stuff. But no, I will just stop this video here. And what's next? I want to show you what pens I acquired in 2025 and also the currently ink for now. But that's for later videos, and thank you. See you on the next one. Bye bye.